All right, guys. So I'm finally back. I know. Uh, I've been on a bit of a hiatus. It's just been a weird time, and I have not made creating podcasts a priority. To be honest, there's no there's no other reason besides I haven't made it a priority. So I feel like I have let my listeners down, and for that I apologize. Um, there's not much else I could say about it. This episode here is recorded with Jack Lander of Golden Rosie. Um, it's just a fun episode with Jack, kind of a get to know you episode, because I'm certain that there's going to be more to come with this guy. Be on the lookout for him to do big things. Jack is a passionate individual. He's great at what he does. He's got a big heart, and he's going to really make something of himself one day. So, uh, once again, with no further, this is Jack Lander of Golden Rosie and kind of my comeback podcast. So I hope you all enjoy, and thanks for listening. Oh, yeah, it's good. Okay. I think it's working. Yeah, it is. All right. So I've got Jack Lander on this morning. This is early morning. For some dumb reason, we decided 6:15 was a good idea. I don't really know what our thought process was. Besides, we've tried 1,000 times to get this podcast situated, and it hasn't worked. So this was our last ditch effort to make it happen.
Hey, but
Morning,
we made it
Jack.
happen. How's it going? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it, especially an hour before you normally wake up for work.
No, it's all good, man. It's great.
So, yeah, Jack and I have been trying to get this going for at least a couple months. Well, like since elk season, man. We were chatting during elk season about it.
Yeah, it's true. It's been a while.
So what? It's been at least 3 months, 3.5 months.
Yeah.
And finally at 6:26 a.m. we get this thing going. So what about a little introduction on yourself, Jack?
Yeah. Let's see. My name's Jack Lander. I am currently in Salem, Oregon. I grew up in Gold Beach, Oregon. So that's where I get a lot of my outdoor lifestyle is because that's what I did growing up. Played a lot of sports, and if I wasn't playing football or wrestling, I was usually out riding dirt bikes or fishing or chasing elk. So, as I've gotten older, that's kind of my passion has become, it's just grown a lot. And so that's kind of all I think about now is elk hunting or deer hunting.
Yeah.
And then in the downtime, like steelhead season starts here in the next couple of weeks. So we'll be hitting it hard on the river.
Yeah, man. We'll have to get together and go fishing. I am like the world's worst. I catch a few fish here and there, but I'm like I like to think of myself as aspiring and bad at it.
Yeah. Oh, me too, man. I've been trying to catch a steelhead on my fly rod for, I think this will be my 4th year, and I'm yet to make it happen. So this is the year it happens.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. You're braver than I am. I just catch them on my float rod.
Yeah.
Because it's the easiest method.
It's still pretty tough.
It's pretty tough, but man, it's fun.
It is.
So, yeah, so when did you start the whole YouTube thing, man? Because unfortunately, you have like a low amount of subscribers for the quality of videos that you put out. When did that all get started?
Oh,
like when did you decide that you loved hunting so much you were just going to pick up a camera and start filming stuff?
Last year is the first year that I started filming our hunts.
Okay.
I started a YouTube channel probably like 5 years ago and put together this really terrible iPhone video of me and my buddies out in the snow.
Yeah.
And had a bunch of copyrighted music and all kinds of stuff. And I left it up there for a long time. And, hey, are you still there?
Oh yeah. Did it skip or something?
Yeah. Oh, I lost it on my screen, but.
Oh, yeah. No, we're still good.
My bad. Okay, cool. Anyways, Yeah, so I had this really terrible video up for years, and it probably had like 30 views, and I was like, man, this is trash. Um, but yeah, so started like, well, I've been watching Angry Spike Productions since I was a kid. Well, I'd
Yeah.
say since in high school, and then um, watched a ton of Born and Raised stuff, and I was like, man, I can do this. Like, I want to try it because I've been hunting Roosevelt's. Well, I think I started bow hunting when I was 17, so it's been next year will be my 10th year chasing them. And there's not a lot of people that do. And so I was like, I want to try and do this. So I bought this cheap camera. It's like a Canon. I think I bought it from a buddy for like $400.
Yeah.
And me and my cousin Selmer just took off into the woods and tried to film stuff. And it was cool. Like, I think our fourth day in, we've got this giant Roosevelt walking down the road, and it was like this is the best footage we've gotten this whole time.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just pretty cool. So like, I just need to go for it. So I was just picking a lot of people's brains, and I started dabbling with Adobe Premiere, and my buddy Nick and my friend Zach, they kind of showed me how to edit. And so I started chopping up stuff and putting clips together. And now I've got like 6 or 7 videos up, and each one gets better. Like the first one kind of makes you seasick.
Yeah.
And it was pretty rough to watch, but I was like, I just got to go for it. I just got to put it up there. And then in 10 years, I'll be able to look back at where I was, and hopefully my content creating will be significantly better.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I put out that fall bear hunting video. I don't know if you've seen it, but like now I go back and watch it and I'm like, man, why didn't I just color correct this thing as a whole? Like I've
Yeah.
got this choppy, like, why is that purple? I'm like going through the thing. I'm like, what is going on? So like at first I was like, man, you guys should all check out this video.
Uh-huh.
Pretty sweet. And now I'm like, yeah, no, oh, that thing, no, I hate it.
Oh, I'm with you. That was
like,
how
I will leave it there as a memory. And like, I mean, I think it's important, right, to go look at your old stuff and look at it and just think like, man, if I knew then what I know now, then I would have been, worlds ahead. But no matter how much somebody tells you about your, how to edit or your ISO settings on your camera or anything like that, you just don't get it until you screw enough stuff up.
Yep.
And it just like, then it becomes like, what you need to do, right? Your shutter speed and all this stuff. Like I spent 20 minutes trying to get a picture of my goddaughter on a swing, not realizing that my shutter speed was so slow that everything was just super blurry and I'm just getting pissed off. And so like that's been my learning experiences.
Oh yeah. If it wasn't for my buddy Nick, like I'd be way further back. Like I still have very little knowledge, but I'm with you the same way. It's like,
yeah,
you just got to, like, for anybody that wants to get into it, you just have to straight up do it. It's going to take you a lot of trial and error to learn, unless you can jump into college and start going to school for it. I mean, it just trial by fire, man. So you just start recording, and then next year when you've got like 100 times more knowledge, you look back and you're like, holy cow, that was rough.
Yeah.
But you just got to throw it out there. You got to be vulnerable, and people give you feedback. They'll let you know what to do. Yeah.
Yeah, Sage has helped me out a lot with just camera setting stuff and editing stuff and thought process kind of things. But him and I had a conversation about it. I mean, I just bought this. I bought that camera. I bought an A6000 like one day before I filmed that bear hunt.
Really?
And so like everything, all the settings were, ass backwards and like all screwed up. And yeah, he gave me like the rundown after that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I didn't remember any of it. So, like, that's just I'm like, well, but I thought I didn't remember any of it. And then as you go, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Somebody told me once about this setting or that setting or what I need to do, or how to capture this, story without telling somebody like, here's a rock in the river, So,
yeah, that's what my whole first video was.
Yeah. Oh, it's so hard not to talk to that dang camera when it's in.
Yeah, it is. So. That's funny.
Yeah, man. So you had a pretty. I mean, last year you had a good year. Right? You did some stuff for Born and Raised or with Born and Raised, didn't you, on the first project?
Um, I just got to go down and visit them for a day, and then they're
Oh,
like,
okay.
"Hey, come on the uncut," and I was like, "Oh, okay." So that was really cool. That was fun. And then this year I got to go down and film with Throat Punch
Yeah.
and our buddy Ben. So we hung out for I think it was 4 days. Um, chased some elk around and uh, successfully didn't shoot a spike. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to use that or not, but if they don't, then I'll throw it up here pretty soon.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. We had a cool encounter. We had a couple of different bulls going, but we could never get the wind right. And then I think the night before our last, no, it was our second to last night. We walk up the hill and this 5 point comes down. He's dogging a cow, but he's probably like 80 to 100 yards up the hill. And he crosses over down this little draw, and then they go up the hill into the timber. And so we started calling, and then we could hear two bulls way up the ridge were fighting. You could hear their horns racking. And about 5 minutes later, we call this fork by spike in to about 9 yards, and he's just staring at Throat Punch. It was pretty cool. But
Seems
yeah,
like that's the preferred shot if he's staring at Austin.
oh, it was, man. He's in full draw, and all I could think was don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot, don't shoot, because it was a
Yeah.
three-point unit or better. But it was hilarious, man. We got done, and he's like, that spike had a little knob on one side, so it was like another half an inch, and he'd have been a 3-point.
He's like, yeah, I could have hung a ring on it.
Oh, dude, it was. And Austin's like, I was willing that 3rd point into existence in that moment.
I think we always do that. I had probably the same unit, 3-point or better. I had a spike this year at like the herd was walking past me, and I'm at full draw, and I'm sitting there like cow, 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 spike, cow, cow, and this spike stops at the very end. So I'm sitting there at full draw. I'm trying to keep my pin off of him, right, in case like I don't know, I accidentally bump my release. So I'm trying to keep my pin off of this thing, and it's just standing there dumb as a rock, just staring at me.
Yeah.
It was like 29 yards, and his vitals were sitting just above this log. Like man. I was like, why are you sitting here like this, man? And so, but then he's looking behind him, so I'm thinking there's a bull coming behind him. So I'm at full draw for like a minute and a half, and finally I just let down, and the spike just stands there for a little while longer, and then he's like, oh, human, runs off. Like, why can't the big bulls be this dumb?
I know.
I guess then they wouldn't be big bulls.
Because they're big. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's freaking funny, but yeah, that's I met Austin at Hoodoo this year, and their dad, and that was a good time. Garrett and I did a podcast with them, and man, those guys are funny.
They are. They're hilarious. That was a good podcast, man. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, hanging out with those dudes. I think by that time, I think I may have had a couple beers. I'm not entirely sure what was going on there, but yeah, that was a good time, man. Yeah. So and I know you were super stoked because we were talking during elk season about maybe getting together and chasing some elk around, and you couldn't because you were going to do some filming with Angry Spike.
Yeah.
So that must have been a trip. You've been looking up to those guys forever, and then you get to go and hang out with them and learn some stuff and film and chase some elk around. That sounds like it was pretty awesome.
It was a cool experience. I was telling Corey, I was like, I've had more action in the 7 days I got to hunt with you guys than I have in the last like 4 years combined. It was pretty cool, man.
Yeah. Run me through a little bit of that. Like just sum up your hunt there.
Yeah. Well, the first met up with them in town, picked up a bunch of supplies, then ran back to camp. And I think we got to camp around noon, maybe 2:00, something like that. And then we hit the road. They had a spot they wanted to go. They had been chasing a bull, I think, the night before. and we get to the first corner and throw out a locator bugle and don't get a response. Bugle a couple times there. Drive up the road about, probably just a few corners to get to a better vantage point. A couple bugles, and it's pretty windy. And boom, you hear this faint response down on the bottom. And they're like, okay, he's still there. So we drove back around down to the bottom and then hiked up this creek bed. And about 45 minutes later, we're in a bugling match with this big old 6x7. And it was nuts, man. It's like day one, and here they are. I've been watching their stuff. They've been telling me how it's done, and the first 3 hours I'm with them, we're chasing this freaking huge Roosevelt. Yeah, so I don't want to give away too much of the story. We're going to put the film out in March, but Corey kills it, and it was epic. It was pretty cool. Man. So it was a great story. So yeah, that's the first night. Puts this giant bull on the ground, and I was like, this is nuts. Like, you've got to be kidding me. This is going to be cake. Like, I'll be hunting in no time. And then,
if only.
Oh, I know, man. And it should have happened. We had a few close encounters. I filmed Shannon the whole week, and oh man, yeah, there's several different bulls that should have died, but it was either bad wind or other people kind of dropping in on top of us.
Yeah.
And screwing up the hunt. But I learned a lot. So it was a fun week, man. Every day for 7 days we were dropping in holes, chasing bulls.
Yeah, whenever I start like swapping stories with people about Roosevelt hunting, I always think like people from states besides Oregon or Washington probably think we are the laziest people on the planet. Like, because every story you're like, yeah, I drove up to this landing, walked out to the edge, ripped the bugle, and boom, bull cracked off. So we looked on a map and, figured out how we could get the closest to this guy with our truck.
Yep.
We drove there and then bombed into this hole. And every time I you get guys from like other places that have asked me like, man, why is it all that you guys do is road hunt? And I'm like, well, we don't, but kinda. I don't know. It's a very interesting style of hunting that we've adopted.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
Well, it's efficient. I think that's what I took away most from Corey this year was efficiency.
Yeah.
Because the last 4 years, I've been pushing my mountain bike behind closed gates, and I have an encounter every year, but I don't have a lot of opportunity. And so I was like, man, I like, there's got to be a better way. And then, spend a week with them, and you put on a lot of miles in the car.
Yeah.
But you just have to cover that much country because you might have a bull in one drainage, but it might be 3 miles before you get another bull to pipe off.
Right. And there's probably a handful of them between there. And you're just, it's just that one. Cause like the year we had this year was, we had 3 different bulls that we had come in, and I ended up getting a shot at a spike and having my arrow deflect. And
oh, dang.
Yeah. It's 52 yards, man. Perfect shot. And just hit this giant limb that nobody saw.
Dang.
It wasn't a question. I was like, what the heck happened when my arrow's 4 feet higher than the elk?
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. So.
Well, and it's always in the one spot your arrow needs to go. And that, at 52 yards, it's like,
well, yeah,
we could arc over quite a bit of stuff, but nope, you got to hit that one branch that's sitting in front of you.
Well, yeah, I had a perfect hole, right? And so I'm like, man, this is money. And I just shoot right through that hole, and I ended up deflecting out of there. But it's just so funny, like what you can pick up from guys. But we had those 3 different bulls, and out of those, man, we had 2 little pipsqueak bugles during the first, or I guess it was the second week of the season. When we were chatting, and man, it was frustrating, going drainage after drainage after drainage after drainage, knowing there's elk in there, knowing they're bedded probably within a couple hundred yards of where you're at, and you can't get a pipe out of them. And so you're like, well, do we just go crashing in there? And end up blowing them out if the wind's not, if the wind's different in the timber. And it's so weird because we don't have like, at least in the area we were hunting, it's not like a patternable, like diurnal wind,
No, dude, it's always at your back.
always. Yeah.
I
It
mean,
just follows you around. It's like smoke in a campfire.
it does, man. That's like, oh, 90% of the time it's like, oh, sweet, the wind's blowing in her face. And then you drop down the hill and 15 minutes later the wind's at your back and the elk bust out.
Yeah. And it's like
It's so fun.
unpatternable.
It is. Yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen.
So, yeah. And then, yeah, dude, it's the most frustrating. But I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I've had guys, and I'm no, top-notch Roosevelt hunter. I have an encounter every year, but I'm not great at it. I think it's more, I think I have more try than knowledge when it comes to elk hunting. I'm like, well, I'm just not going to give up. I'm going to hunt. If I get off work at 11 at night, I'll just be up on the mountain at 4 a.m, and it'll be fine. I'll sleep in the truck.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. So,
it's addicting, and you have to kind of have that drive to be successful. Because
right.
I mean, there's times like when it just kind of falls into place, and it's like, whoa, that was easy. But
right. Well, normally when you end up shooting something, it's one of those like, what kind of dumb luck, because you've spent so much time like grinding and having it not work out that you're like, man, I was totally lucky on my 8,000th bugle of the day. A bull cracked off right below me and ran right up the hill and I shot it. Like,
yeah,
but that's not luck, right? I mean, in a sense it is, I guess, that it's a time and place statistic. Like, you want to break down the science of it. We have no freaking clue. Right. But I guess it's persistence is number one, right?
Yeah.
If you stay after it.
Yeah. All your preparation. I mean, you work for 11 months out of the year just to be proficient at shooting, at calling, at hiking. You get in shape so you can run around the hills. Like, who takes vacation time to go put in like anywhere from like 5 to 15 miles a day,
right,
and just run yourself into the ground trying to kill an animal? Like,
oh yeah. Yeah, by like
crazy.
day 6 this year, I was hurting pretty good. And I put in a lot of work, before the season.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, man. I don't know why we do it, but we do. So I want to dig at this a little bit. I just had this thought while we were talking about it. I think it's something that needs to be discussed. There's a lot of people that are creating content right now, just everywhere, right? Like, it's the cool thing to do. There's the Land of the Free project. The Elk 101 guys are doing big stuff. Angry Mountain, those guys, Angry Spike. Like, there's all of these big, I guess they weren't big, but now they are, right? All of these content creators. So they're inspiring people everywhere to go and get a cheap camera and start filming your hunts, right?
Yeah.
So my question that I always think of, and I don't think I've ever actually asked anybody, what's your goals with your filming stuff? Like, what's the I'm not going to say end goal, because that's always kind of, left up to chance. But where do you see your filming and your media creation, your social media stuff? Where do you see all that taking you?
Yeah. I don't know yet. I think kind of the goal, like, well, originally it was like, oh man, I want to do a DVD just like ASP or Born and Raised. And then this YouTube format has really opened it up, because anybody can do anything and just throw it up on YouTube. And so I think for me right now, my goal is to just create good content. And that's something that I've struggled with, because I'm trying to learn how to be creative, or to get certain shots, how to edit it and get it put together with the right music, or just edit it so it flows right so people can enjoy it. And so that's kind of been my goal. Like this next film with ASP, I'm going to get to release it in March. I think in March. We're still trying to figure out the dates. Down with Nate Bailey at his church, he's going to have a kind of a local film fest for
Yeah.
guys
Yeah.
in Oregon.
He's told me about that.
Yeah. So, like, my goal right now is to take the footage I got from this season and make something that's like just pulls people in, gets them excited, helps teach them, and just kind of shows them what it's like to hunt Roosevelts. But so I guess, yeah, if I'm looking at end goal, it would be to create quality content for Roosevelt hunting. Cause like that's kind of the niche I wanted to hit really hard. I haven't ever hunted Rockies. I think it would be a lot of fun, but I just really enjoy hunting the coast. And
Right.
so I'd like to showcase that just in a really good way, like ASB has and like Bro has in the past.
Yeah.
They just, yeah, dude, they got some epic footage.
Oh yeah.
Killing Roosevelts. I was like, man, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And that makes it tough because then it's like, okay, either you need a partner that's just as dedicated to film, so you can actually have an opportunity, or you have to sacrifice parts of your season just to film so you can capture that, because nobody's going to film you. So you watch a video and you're like, oh man, that guy makes such cool stuff. And it's like, well, actually his buddy filmed the entire thing.
Right.
Or he paid somebody to film it. Like, I mean, so that's all that goes into it. So usually the creator doesn't have his face on the screen.
Right. And that's where I'm digging to here is like deeper than, I know it seems weird. I'm not like pressing you for anything, but what I'm getting at is kind of like deeper than what everybody sees, like just the, the super awesome footage. Like I think a lot of people are getting into, and I'm not saying you are, obviously you're in it for the right reasons, but I think a lot of people are getting into the media creation for what I would consider like the wrong reasons, right? Somebody looks and they're like, oh, hey, I can, whatever. I shoot deer, I can make money at this, so I'm going to do that. Well, like, is that really, I mean, and it's an opinion, right? It's a judgment call on your own about yourself, but like, is that really the right reason? For me? No, right? Because I work a 9 to 5, or I guess not really, a 12 to 12 or 11 to 11, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, all of this stuff that I do with the podcast and, my, I guess you could call it a YouTube channel. I have a YouTube account.
I know, that's how I feel.
All that stuff I do, man, I don't expect to ever make money off it. Like, I sell some hats so I could buy a new microphone so that it sounds better for people, right? Like, I don't expect to ever make a dime. If at some point, I started making money from this, like, great. That doesn't mean that, I have other things to support now. You've got mortgages and truck payments and stuff. Like, I'm not going to bank my entire existence on like, someday I'm going to be just like Trent and Cody, and my videos are going to, have monetary value associated with them. But I think a lot of people, rather than filming for the filming or podcasting, or doing photography for the joy of filming or podcasting or doing photography, it's like, well, what does everybody else want to see rather than what you want to film? You know what I'm getting at here? It's like a roundabout way to get there, but I think that a lot of people are creating content for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I would say, because like I think it'd be awesome if I could, like if I had the means to just create content and get paid for it. Like, heck yeah, it'd be awesome. It'd be better than working construction. But I'm with you at the same time. Like, for me, it's never been about trying to make money, because I really, well, first off, I'm not there yet. Like, I don't have the quality to even really think about doing something like that. And two, it's been, you think about you got a house payment, you got to take care of your wife, or if you got kids or whatever you've got going on. It takes a lot of sacrifice to try and make money making videos versus just working your job. Right. And there's also the struggle with like, man, I really love hunting. do I really want to make a career out of it?
Right.
Because,
That's another one.
yeah, because hunting is my escape. It's my hobby. I get to go do it for fun. It's where I find kind of a peace of mind. And if all of a sudden that becomes your livelihood, then I feel like it, and it might not. I mean, some guys look like they're having a lot of fun and they're doing really well hunting full time, but it just adds that whole new level of commitment. And
Right.
pretty soon you don't get to go hunt for fun. You have to go out. I mean,
Right. You have to have this many tags, and you have to, I feel like then the pressure, the pressure is always on to be successful, right? You always want to be successful, but if I don't fill a tag, I don't fill a tag, I guess.
yeah.
Then, like, you're not going to be, even if you've got 7 years or 10 years or 15 years of killer videos, if you go through 2 seasons and you don't put a single animal on the ground, you're probably going to lose half your viewership. Like,
yeah, for real.
everybody that used to be there with you is going to be like, this guy sucks. Like, if somebody like Randy Newberg went through an entire season without killing a single elk,
yeah.
like, everybody's gonna be like, oh, Newberg, yeah, that guy's a has-been.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's something that I wanted to discuss with somebody like you, where it was a super neutral opinion. Like, if I discuss that with somebody who already makes money, or like already puts out just like stellar footage all the time, like, if I talked to Jason Matzinger about filming for a living, he'd be like, yeah, dude, it's a great idea.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
'Cause that's what I do.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
wanted a really unbiased conversation. And I didn't like plan this out. It just came to me throughout the midst of our conversation here. I'm winging it, but it's gotten to be something that I'm really enjoying, like, digging at this, because
Yeah.
it's like, I think it falls into the same lines of like the, who quoted them, the Insta famous people. I can't remember, but the people that have a ton of followers and like super awesome pictures of themselves
Uh-huh.
and never kill anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I think the two kind of like go hand in hand. Like, I know people who, and more power to them, whatever you want to do. They've got like thousands and thousands of followers and they've killed like 2 critters, and those are the people that everybody's trusting for advice.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like, I don't ever want to be like, you don't want to portray this image of yourself that is something that you're not. At least I don't, right? So
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of skewed images of people out there, because back to filming and recording and taking pictures of things, not for what you want, but for what you think somebody else wants. That's what this whole like weird internet culture of hunters and outdoorsmen and women is right now. It seems like there's a lot of people that just are doing everything for somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having the stress to like, okay, I have to produce this content, and you name it. There's just so much work that goes into it, and I think you hit it on the head. Like, because to me, that's been the whole time has been, I just want to be as honest as possible. Like, I want to show everything. Like the bro guys do, man. They miss a bull or they make a bad shot, they still show it, and because that's reality. Yeah. And so it's like, I don't want to show people, because a lot of what everybody says Instagram is a highlight reel of the best moments of your life.
Yeah, dude, that's so accurate.
Yeah, and it's like, well, yeah, I do that a lot, but I like when it comes to shooting my bow, I'll post a picture when I have a good group, but I'll also post a picture when I'm shooting like crap.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I just want people to know that I'm a real person. I'm honest. Like, hey, I shoot as much as I can, and I still have a lot to work on. And I think that kind of ties into doing things for the right reasons. Yeah. So I'd say you nailed it right on the head. Like, and for like, well, back to the filming thing, I'm all for people that want to be able to put content out and create it. And if you could get paid at it, that would be amazing. But you have to have joy. And so, like you said, people are getting into it for the wrong reasons. I think starting out, like you just got to have fun. You got to have passion, and you got to have that drive, because that's what's going to push you to do it. Then you're going to have fun filming. And then after a few years, once you start learning, then you can really start putting quality stuff out, and you're not going to get burnt out because you really enjoy doing it.
Yeah. And I think too, let me just, I'm going to just like lay this out as my imagination plays this out. There's a kid, right? And he's like, sees this stuff and he's like, yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to get on 1900 different pro staffs, put them all over my Instagram for stuff that I don't use or I've never used. Right.
Yeah.
And so he watches a few people's videos, and then like suddenly he's got 4 or 5 videos out and they all look like somebody else's.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm sorry, but you're never going to make money at that.
Yeah.
If your podcast sounds just like somebody else's, people aren't going to listen to it. They're going to listen to the one that they always have.
Yep.
Or if your YouTube videos look just like somebody else's, somebody might watch it, and after a few, like the truth always shines through, right? If you're fake about something, it's always going to surface, no matter what. And it's so much easier to live like honestly than it is to live, like trying to be something you're not. So I think that it's just like we're lacking a lot of is the word originality? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're the educated one, man. I'm just trying to get my information. This is actually just a selfish podcast. I'm just trying to steal a little bit of your education.
Learn as much as possible from other people. Yeah.
So I think we're like lacking that original drive because it's so flooded. Right? Like you go watch a full draw film tour and it's awesome. And then you're like, well, I'm going to film this. Oh, he's done that. Or I'm going to do this. Oh, they've done that. So you have to do it differently. Right? But I think there's this mold of what everybody thinks is supposed to be. And then a lot of people end up just doing the same thing over and over and wondering why people don't like what they're putting out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if anybody listening is looking for any words of wisdom, I think we stroked it earlier saying that, you just got to put out what you want to put out and stop worrying about what everybody else wants. Because do you think 8 years ago when Born and Raised started filming, that was what everybody was used to seeing? Like, no, nobody had ever seen that.
Mm-hmm.
This weird vlog / partially cinematic / whatever it is that they do, all crammed into one film, and it's awesome. But like now a bunch of people are trying to do the same exact thing, and it's just not working for them, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody already does it better than you.
Yeah.
And so it just, I feel like I'm walking in circles here, but it's so important to me to keep like touching on this this wrong reason thing has been eating at me for a while. And now I have somebody to talk about it with.
For sure.
It's just like, and who am I to call it the wrong reason?
Yeah.
Right?
And I think there's both ways, because you don't want to be a copycat and just do what somebody else does just because. But for me, I know that I watch a lot of different people's content to try and come up with my own content.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then when I get in the editing room, I get lazy and I get tired because you've already put 15 hours into a film and you just want to release it when you should put another 5 into it. And so you just throw it up and you're like, man, I should have kept working on that because there was a few things I needed to tweak.
Yeah.
But you learn from everybody, and then you can pull, like with the bro vlog style, it's like, oh, hey, this would be helpful in this part of my video. And then you get the cinematic piece over here and you start learning, and you don't want to just copy somebody's stuff directly. Like, oh, hey, they have this clip right here, I'm going to throw this clip in. And then they have this clip, I'll put this clip in. But you can get a lot of knowledge and information by watching people that are successful.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're able to do it. But still, it comes back to why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you want a certain amount of followers or a certain amount of YouTube subscribers or viewers? Or are you doing it because you love it and you just want to share it with other people?
Right. That's what worries me. I mean, like goal-oriented people, that's awesome.
Yeah.
right? If you've set these goals. For me, like with the podcast, all I want to do, like I have these amount of like, I would love to have a 500 listeners an episode, right? On average, that would be great. Why? I don't know. like because I
Yeah.
feel like that's a realistic goal, and it's something that would mean a lot to me. That if I put out one episode, 500 people voluntarily listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you ask me the same question, like, what are your goals? Where do you see, what's the reason that you're doing this? Like, wouldn't have nearly as good of an answer as you had, because I'm just like, I don't know, just we'll see what happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just did it to do it, and I get to talk to a lot of cool people
Yeah.
and BS and gain all this knowledge and discuss these topics that you don't get to hear discussed very often, in an unfiltered, unbiased kind of situation. Like that's my whole goal right now. Is like, if somebody asks me, hey, can you do an episode on this? Well, then my short-term goal would be like finding somebody to do that episode with.
Yeah.
Right? It's not about getting the Cameron Hayneses and Corey Jacobsons and stuff to come on the show, which, I mean, it would be awesome to talk to those guys because, we look up to those guys.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, if I don't get those guys on the show, well, okay, that's fine. I got, Jack Lander and Sage Davis and all of these people that they're knowledge banks just like anybody else. The only thing is they're not a common name in your home.
Yep.
So like that's my whole thing, is to like highlight people like you and Sage and all these guys that are out there doing big things that are just like slipping under the radar. Because I don't doubt in a few years you'll be a common name in Rosie hunting. Like people will be like, oh yeah, no, Golden Rosie, that guy. Yeah. So I think that's where I'm at, is like I just want to just create stuff for me, right? Because that's what I'm, that's what I want to do. So
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing, is to just, like we've hit on 100 times already, just like do it for yourself.
Yep.
If for nobody else, do it for yourself. And if somebody says they don't like what you're doing, or you're too this or you're too that, or Roast, your podcast is too unfiltered, or it's too filtered, or you edit too much stuff out, or you don't edit enough out, like whatever, it's the same every time. You just get some, you just think it's different.
Yep.
So it's super funny. I don't know, man. Speaking of the Golden Rosie guy, how'd you come up with that name? Is it because Roosevelts are golden?
Pretty much. Yep. Yeah. No, I've shared it with some friends before. I was like, man, I just want to be, kind of something different. I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to have something kind of unique. And the more I thought about it, I was like, man, like, no, Roosevelt, like, I love hunting blacktail, even though I hate them.
I hate them too.
I want to learn how to hunt mule deer and be successful at that. Like just all kinds of stuff. I want to go out and explore, but every time I come back to it, it's chasing Roosevelts.
Yeah.
And I've just started having that success, and so I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
Because when I started the account handle, it's like, I've killed like just a couple of elk, and it's all been kind of, in all reality, it's been that lucky, like right place, right time. But it was, I didn't want to be like everybody else. I didn't want to just throw my name up there and then put productions behind it, or outdoors, or.
Yeah. You didn't want to be Jack Lander Outdoors.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, man, that's not creative. And so I just started thinking about it. I was like, well, and I just started thinking about Rosies. I was like, dude, they're gorgeous. And then you get that sun that hits their light, and it's that golden kind of brown color. And I was like, that's it, Golden Rosie. So I just went with it, threw up the Instagram handle, and because I was listening to one of those Brian Call podcasts, and I was like, man, like he talked about, if you want to do it, you just have to do it. You just got to start. And so that's what it was. I was like, I'm just going to create an Instagram page and just kind of see where it went. And then the next thing was trying to pick up a camera.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, who knows what's next, but just try and
the Golden Rosie podcast. That's next.
Yeah, I know. There's no way. People don't want to listen to me talk for hours on
People
hours.
are going to listen to you talk for like almost an hour today.
Close to an hour. Yep. Then it'll be good. Then I'll have another 6 months before I'm on another podcast.
I don't know, man. Maybe after the bull hunt. because I've got that same bull tag.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah,
That
but I won't be back. I'm leaving on, what is today? Friday?
Today is Friday.
Yeah, I'm leaving on Sunday at 6 in the morning to go to New
Okay.
Mexico.
And you're hunting mule deer for a week?
Yeah.
That's gonna be sick.
I'm
That'll be a
sort
lot
of
of fun.
spoiled, man. Like I put in for this tag with my cousin. Um, we've been trying, him and I, it's kind of like you and I getting together to podcast, him and I getting together to hunt. We were supposed to go hunting, I don't know, 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. And I clicked through everything to put in on the website for New Mexico Fish and Game. And their website's super like user friendly. It's super easy. Like way better than Oregon's website of trying to find regulations and put in and stuff. And so I went through did my due diligence and whatever and clicked like go, and apparently it didn't load.
Oh no.
So, and then I like closed out of the tab because I was leaving to go somewhere. So they drew and went down there and killed some bucks. And I like sat at home and sulked because I screwed up trying to put in. So
Dang.
I called them and I'm like, hey, I'm not seeing my name on here. And they're like, yeah, it doesn't look like you ever put in. Like I see that you created an account and that you wanted to put in for that, but like you never went through with your card info. I'm like,
Oh wow.
no, I put all that in. So it didn't load. Well, then anyways, it was like a few hours after the deadline.
Oh no.
Apparently when I called them. So they're like, yeah, we can't do anything for you. I'm like,
Wow.
dang it. So they went down there and shot some bucks and it had a good time. And we were going to go last year. And it was the last year before his son went off to school. So they went pheasant hunting in South Dakota. And so we're like, all right, next year, we'll put in next year. So we drew this mule deer tag. And yeah, it's supposed to be freezing. Did you get that? You see that screenshot I sent you of the weather?
I don't think it came through.
Oh man, I sent it
But
to
it's
you
supposed to be
yesterday.
cold. Yeah.
It's supposed to be like 5 degrees of a low the first day I get there.
Oh, I got it. Holy smokes, man. That's gonna suck.
Yeah, 16 degrees and 5 degrees, which I mean, like, I feel like it's not going to be that awful, but also I think it's supposed to be a little windy. I'm not really entirely sure. So, and they're supposed to have some snow on the ground. My only hope is that it doesn't snow and then melt and then freeze and then you can't stalk deer.
Yeah.
Because it's miserable. But they've shot some good bucks down there. It's not like oh, okay, yeah. Right now it's 16 degrees and the real feel is -7.
Oh man,
So,
that's gonna
yeah.
be
Oh,
fun.
send the Western Oregon boy down there. He'll be fine.
Yeah, I know. Living on the coast, 60 to 50 or 60 year round.
Yeah. Okay. It got actually colder than what I sent you. Now it's supposed to be 13 and 4.
Whew.
And then, man, why does it keep getting colder? That's gonna be miserable.
I hope you got a puffy coat and some puffy pants.
I don't have puffy pants. That is one thing that I certainly don't have.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring 2 raincoats. Like I have a light one, like a windbreaker, and then I have that heavy one, the first light one.
Uh-huh.
And so I think when we stop to glass, I'm just gonna throw that sucker over my legs and zip it up,
Yeah.
and hope that does enough to like hold in a little bit of heat. I don't know. I'm gonna probably die.
Get a quilt or something, or pack your sleeping bag around so you can crawl in it when you're glassing.
Dude, I'm considering that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to travel. So I bought this ticket for my flight because I'm flying to Dallas, and my cousin lives outside of Dallas by like 40 minutes.
Okay.
So I'm flying into Dallas, and he's going to drive up, pick me up. We're going to stay at his house on the 31st. 31st? 30th. And we're going to drive to New Mexico from his house on the 31st because, it gives you like 8 hours to catch up. I'm probably going to try and snatch a podcast on the way over.
That'd be awesome.
And one on the way back. Twofer. And it's like an 8-hour drive. Well, if I flew into Albuquerque, he'd have to drive 2 hours past where we're hunting and then drive 2 hours back. So it adds 4 hours to his trip by himself. Yep. I'm not going to do that. So, yeah, it'll be certainly interesting. So I bought this plane ticket, and by the way, United, you suck. I didn't know that, right? I like never fly. So I'm just go on, find the cheapest ticket from Medford because I don't want to deal with going to Portland.
Yep.
Um, so I find this ticket from Medford. It's like $360 round trip. I buy it. And then I get this email like, oh, about your basic economy fare. And I'm like, oh, okay, click on that. It's like, yeah, you get to have a personal bag on the plane, which they describe as like 17 by 9 by 4 or something. I'm like, what is that? A purse or a laptop bag or something? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, your carry-on bag. It's like a backpack pretty much.
Yeah, it's smaller. So I
Yeah.
can't even take like I've got a Icon Pro, a Kuiu pack,
Uh-huh.
3200. So I've got all my clothes and like all my hunting stuff shoved into that thing.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna like try and tape up all the straps and stuff so it doesn't get hung up on the conveyor.
Uh-huh.
And that's like all I can do. So I'm packing all of my clothes into one bag. And then I borrowed Garrett's bow case because
Really?
I don't have a fancy bow case. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna try and shove some things in there. But like I'm worried about checking my rangefinder and my binos and stuff. Like I don't want to do that. So I
Uh-huh.
think I'm gonna take my girlfriend's got a bigger laptop bag than I do. So I think I'm
Yeah.
gonna take hers and try and shove my binos and rangefinder in it.
Yeah.
And at least take those and like my camera. I could probably put a lens in my bow case, but like shove that stuff on with me. I don't know, man. It's Sunday and I haven't figured it out. So I've got like,
What, yeah, and they say wear your boots on the plane, so that way if
yeah, of
you
course.
guarantee you have your boots. Wear some clothes you could hunt in if you had to.
Well, and I don't know if a release is considered like a weapon. I don't know.
I wouldn't think so, but you could always ask.
Right, but if I show up down there with my thing though is like if I just put my release in my bow case and the bow doesn't make it,
Yeah.
well then like I don't even have a release. Do I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much like just I'm like extremely nervous. I think I'm gonna try and sit on the plane long enough to like witness my bow getting put on the new plane,
Uh-huh.
and then I'll be like, okay, I'm good, you know.
Yep. Oh, for
But
sure.
at least we've got that like 20 and like 12-hour period that we're gonna be by Dallas. So like if it gets lost, maybe they could drop ship it where we're going in New Mexico.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Oh, they would. They'd like I've had people lose bags before, and I mean within the night or then by the next day, sometimes they show up. But you talk like Snyder lost a bag, and I think it took like 3 or 4 days for it to show up.
That's what I'm saying.
You just have no idea, but they'll ship it to your address where you're at, or you can have them ship it somewhere in town.
I mean, at
But
least we're hunting for 7 days, so like it should
yeah,
be there by day 4.
yeah, I
When
hope so.
the deer stop showing up. Well, I don't know with this cold weather, man. It's gonna suck. I'm hoping that this is all a mean joke, and it just flips around and it's good weather.
Super nice. Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, the moral of the story is I don't know how to pack more warm clothes than I have, and I don't have like a little quilted blanket or down pants or anything like that because
Mhm.
I hunt in Western Oregon, man. Like,
I don't have anything for cold weather. I have one puffy coat.
yeah,
That's about it.
yeah, that's all I've got. And because like I don't know, I don't. If somewhere around here sold the puffy pants, I would honestly go buy them,
Hmm.
but they don't, and nothing's obviously gonna make it anywhere until in 2 days on a weekend. Like, not gonna get any gear, so yeah, I'm pretty much screwed. I've got like a thin base layer and like some regular pants, and I'm gonna wing it.
Yeah,
Gators.
you'll be good, man. You'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure if it comes down to it, I'll just quit and go back to the hotel and drink a beer. It'll be fine.
Hot shower. Yeah, you'll be good to go.
Yeah. So, well, man, it's about that time. You got to get ready to go get out to the pickup and head to work. And maybe I'm gonna take a nap. I'm not sure.
Sounds like a
So,
plan, man.
well, Jack, any closing thoughts, man?
Um, for the people listening, thank you. Sorry if I bored you to death talking about elk hunting. And I'd just like to say thanks for having me on. And I think keep doing what you're doing, man. You're doing it for the right reasons, and it's cool. It's cool to listen to your stuff and just see your take on life and hunting. And yeah, so I just want to say thanks.
Well, thank you, man. Thanks for coming on.
We'll definitely have to link up and do some hunting in the next year or two.
Yeah, or at least film some steelhead fishing.
That would be a blast.
Yeah, man. So sounds good. Everybody, thanks for listening to this episode with Jack Lander. We are going to get the heck out of here. So have a good one. Bye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that podcast. I know I enjoyed recording it. It was a blast. I can't wait to get something going with Jack here soon. I think maybe a fishing trip or something like that. We're going to get it going. Make sure you check out, we didn't talk about it. Jack had to go to work, and we were kind of pressed for time on this podcast. But if you would like to check out Jack's stuff, you can find him on Instagram. It's golden_Roosie, and Roosie spelled ROOSIE _outdoors. So golden_Roosie _outdoors. Find him on YouTube, Golden Roosie, and check out his stuff. You know, we talked a little bit about it, but you really don't understand the skill and passion somebody has for creating these sorts of projects until you go and check out their stuff. And it's so fun to me to subscribe to somebody on YouTube or Instagram and then just watch how they grow as they get better at their skills. Their page just starts to grow, and it's not their page growing like followers and everything. It's just the way that they portray themselves, the way they portray hunting. Their posts just get better. Their videos get better, like Jack and I talked about in the podcast. So just check them out, and you won't be sorry. Once again, I'm going to make sure I'm more consistent with podcasts. I really apologize to those who have been good listeners of mine over the short amount of time I've been doing this podcast. I really feel like I let you down, so for that I apologize, and we'll be back with some more soon. So thanks for listening to the Boag Podcast. I'm out of here. Bye.